Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you are well and that you are keeping safe. We are now level 4 from level 5 of the lockdown. So a lot of us are back at work, but there's still obviously a lot of people that are still at home, and we're only going out to do essential things that they need to get done. And I just thought that I should do this video because I've been getting a lot of messages and calls from different people about their mental health, especially during this time. We all know about the pandemic, and it has really affected all of us in different ways. But for a lot of people, it has also triggered their mental well-being, where a lot of people that I'm speaking to are reporting symptoms of depression and anxiety. They're under enormous stress and they're just finding it difficult to cope. They don't know how to cope. They don't know what it is that they can do to adjust to this new situation. And while this is new to all of us, I think we're all trying to find our feet with regards to what the way forward is. After the lockdown, when everything goes back to normal, if it ever does, whatever normal is for you. But I think that we also need to acknowledge that for a lot of people, even when we get to the end of what we are facing currently, life is not going to go back to normal to a lot of people, because a lot of companies are closing down, a lot of companies are cutting down on staff, and people are getting retrenched. They're getting letters to say you can't come back to work because we're not able to afford paying your salary. We are not able to afford your services. So there's a lot of uncertainty for a lot of people with regards to what is going to happen after this. What am I going to do? Am I going to be able to find work? There's also a lot of stress with regards to maintaining a lifestyle that people are used to, sustaining your livelihood, being able to provide for your families. And all of this is really understandable if you take what is going on into consideration. And what is also understandable is that people have been triggered, and this is why they're experiencing a lot of the symptoms of mental health disorders. And a lot of people I know also are reporting that they're really struggling to sleep. So whenever I speak to people, I always try to take their unique situation into consideration before I can say this is what you need to do or this is what you can do. So but I just thought that I would do a general video just to say or to share what could possibly help during this time. It might not make things better or provide answers, but I think that more than any other time that it's been important to take care of our mental well-being and look after our mental health, it is now. Because as much as we are all scared of getting infected or catching the coronavirus, we also need to know that if our mental health is not at its peak and we are not looking after it, if we are under stress can affect your immune system, which makes the likelihood of you getting sick very high. So we need to nurture our mental well-being. We need to try and look after our emotions and practice self-care in the midst of the difficulties that we are facing. So I just thought that I could share with you 2 tips and 2 things that you can try, that I really believe that you should try in order to try and maintain your mental well-being during this difficult time. And the first one that I want to speak about is social media. Social media is an amazing platform. I myself, I am a social media junkie. I love Facebook. I love Facebook. I go on Facebook, I don't know how many times a day. I love interacting with people on Facebook. I love learning new information on the pages that I follow and seeing what different people have to say about things that are happening around us. So it would actually be very difficult for me to say that I was going to cut off Facebook completely from my life. And so I'm not going to sit here and say to you, you must cut social media off from my life completely, knowing very well that it's not something that I would be able to do. However, I would advise and I do recommend that during this time you limit your time or the time that you spend on social media. Reason being that a continuous feed of the news and how many cases we now have in the country, how many people have died, all of this is really just adding to the stress that you're already experiencing, and it's not making it any easier for you to be able to cope with the situation and what is happening. So my tip is just know what you need to know and then filter the rest out. Like, don't try to go on an overload of information, because it's also the same overload of information that's causing you anxiety and that's causing you to stress and that's making you not sleep at night. And the other thing that I also wanted to talk about is how we have different lives as people. So there are people who live alone, who are very far from their families, so they have had to experience this lockdown by themselves with obviously maybe only social media and access to technology to help them to stay close to their loved ones and people that are in their life. But also social media can also be a source of stress and anxiety when you log on and you're seeing what different people are doing during this time, because everyone is just trying as best as they can to cope with the situation. But from where you're sitting, it can also seem like everybody else seems to be coping better than you are, or they seem to be living their best life as opposed to what you are doing at the moment. And that can also just add to the stress that you already have. The fact that you log on and you see people posting videos of their workouts or videos of them cooking or videos of them playing board games with family, and then you look at yourself in your situation and you don't have any of these things, that can cause you to then, not that you are envious of other people, but it can also make it more difficult for you to be able to cope with the situation and what is happening around you. So definitely, first tip is minimize the time that you spend on social media. When you do log on, make sure that you follow people and pages that spread good news, that spread positive vibes, and that you can learn from people that share similar interests as you, and just generally things that would make you feel good. There's already so much that we are stressing about. We don't need to further expose ourselves to things that just add onto the list. So social media, the content on there can also be, like a no-go zone. So just be careful of what it is that you allow into your space, into your thoughts, because that does influence your mental well-being, and it can influence your mental well-being in a negative way. The last one, I'm not going to say a lot on, because it's also something that I'm trying to work on. I'm not there yet, but I am trying, and that is the importance of physical activity. The past month I was at home because we were not coming to work. Not even once did I try to do a squat or a sit up or whatever, and that, in terms of my health and my weight, had like negative consequences, and I'm trying to rectify that. But more than just trying to keep in shape or lose weight, it's important to have some form of physical activity, because that also helps you with maintaining your mental well-being. Go out there, take a walk. It doesn't have to be far. You don't have to be a jogger. You don't have to, go run in the street, but just make sure that you do some form of physical activity that can help you to keep fit and to, keep your energy levels up, but just also to make sure that you get that daily dose of feel good hormones that is released every time that you exercise. There is other tips that I will share in other videos that I will post in the future, but for today I just wanted to focus on these two: the importance of limiting what we expose ourselves to on social media, print media, on TV even, and then just the importance of dragging yourself out of bed, as difficult as it may be on certain days. Open the curtains up so that you can get some sun. Just take a few steps outside and do some physical activity, that you're not just sitting and watching TV the whole day. I hope that these two tips will be helpful to you in trying to maintain your well-being, mental well-being during this time, and that you are keeping safe. And if you are going through any stress at the moment in terms of uncertainty in the future and not knowing what you can or what you are going to do with your life when this blows over, please don't just sit there in silence in your own corner and think that nobody cares and that you can't speak to anyone. Just find somebody that you trust in your life, that you can reach out to, that you can have an honest conversation with regards to how you feel and what it is that you are going through. They don't have to have solutions, they don't have to have the answers, but a lot of times just speaking and releasing what it is that we are holding in our hearts just lightens the load. So yeah, I look forward to doing more videos. I hope that you enjoyed this specific one. If there's anything that you would like me to focus on in terms of mental health, please do give me a shout and let me know what it is that you would like to hear me discuss. And thank you for watching.